nice to them. Bye, everyone. We're on Movie Studio. How's it going on? My name is Tim. I'll be your guide today with today's driver, Chris, and he's the co-host of this world-famous studio tour. You may recognize him from The Tonight Show, starring Jimmy Fallon. It is Jimmy Fallon.
Later, when it comes to later.
Welcome to the Universal Studio Tour. I'm Jimmy Fallon. I'll be making sure you get through this experience.
Chippendale.
You've got the very best guide
Tim.
and the greatest driver.
Chris.
Very fast. I love that. Even though
Tim.
owes me $5.
Bruh.
I know you guys are excited to get on the tour, but first, a few safety rules.
Well, that's right, Julie. We do have a few safety rules. First and foremost, if you are in need of assistance of any kind, could be a medical emergency, if you drop something of value off the side of the vehicle, if you're having any video or audio issues, anything that you need assistance with, please let me know by reaching up and pulling the red cord that runs down the center of the ceiling of your car. That is the emergency cord. If you pull on that, we will stop and I'll be back to help you as soon as it is safe for me to do so. Otherwise, for the remainder of the tour, just remain seated with your arms legs beside the vehicle at all times. Now, you do want to have your cameras ready, but please hold on tight to your cameras and all belongings. There will be sudden tram movements, loud sounds, fire effects, and water effects throughout the tour. There are certain locations in the studio where I can't get out of the vehicle, so it takes a while for someone to get that item back to you. There's also certain locations where no one can get it back forever. Hold on to your stuff. There's absolutely no smoking whatsoever on the tram. If your safety and the safety of those around you, please do not use selfie sticks while on board. But enough of the rules. Let's get this story started. Now, some of you may have never been here before. Maybe you haven't been down to the lower lot yet. That is the second half of the theme park. It's down here to the right. It's where Jurassic World, Transformers, The Mummy, and Super Nintendo World is. So if you're looking for Mario, it's down there. You gotta take these escalators. Starts up by Springfield down there. Pretty hard to miss. We're also building a roller coaster. That is Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift, scheduled to be opening up next year. But none of those attractions would exist without this one. You're on the original Universal attraction for all theme parks. Us, Orlando, Japan, the new ones we're building across the ocean, all began with this 61 years ago. That's how long we've been doing the studio tour. And of course, the studio tour wouldn't exist without the studio. And the studio wouldn't exist without one man. So everything you do and see today is because of Carl Lindley, the gentleman there in the bow tie, the founder of Universal Pictures. He founded the company on the East Coast in 1912, got tired of all the weather they got out there, moved out west and founded Universal City on March 15, 1950. And we still function as our own city. We have our own zip code, post office, our own fire station. There on the right-hand side. We have a sheriff station up on City Walk. There's medical facilities here and daycare facilities. We got a gym that I don't go to. We got 3 Starbucks and a giant theme park. Got a whole bunch of stuff. But Yorktown has something we don't. I know that for a fact. You might live in a super small town, but Yorktown still has residents. No one lives here. Rather than having residents, though, Universal City is the workplace for thousands and thousands of movie and television professionals, and a lot of them work here in the front lot. The front lot is where the headquarters for Universal Pictures is. It's also where the majority of our sound stages are. Sound stages are these giant warehouses that are roughly 98% soundproof. So you film in a soundstage, you're not going to hear the theme park. You don't really hear anything other than your actor's voice. Oldest and largest soundstage on the property is the first one that we see, Soundstage 12 on our left. About 100 years old and 1.4 million cubic feet. And some pretty giant famous movie sets have been built for that, like Frankenstein's Lab in 1931. Dracula's Castle built in there as well. Where they built the mansion in Scarface, the clock tower back at the Beacher, Visitor Center, Jurassic Park, the town of Who Village, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and next year scenes of movies like Couples and Two. The rest of the sound stages we're going to see here in the front lot are going to be a lot smaller than Stage 12, but about 10 times as busy. We do a lot of television with these sound stages. Now, we do some of our own television shows over here for Peacock, Peacock being our streaming service. Ted, Season 2. Just filmed not too long ago inside here. Ted is a little teddy bear, if you remember the movie Seth MacFarlane did with Mark Wahlberg. The television series is a prequel set in the 90s of the movies. Another Peacock original films over here called Bel Air, which is essentially a modernized, mature take of The Fresh Prince with Jabari Banks and Ollie Charlton. But some of these trucks actually say Warner Brothers. There's a Warner Brothers television show currently filming over here. It is a brand new show called Stuart Fails to Save the Universe. It's a Big Bang Theory spinoff that they're doing. Warner Brothers is paying for the show, so they're producing it. They're airing the show on their streaming service, HBO Max. They just needed the space, so they're renting it from us. We're a rental facility for everyone. So I'm going to talk about Warner Brothers and Disney, Paramount, Sony. You can make a movie here. Just have a super expensive birthday party. I don't care what you do. Now, some of my favorite Universal movies filmed inside Stage 14 to our left-hand side. A really scary movie called The Thing with Kurt Russell filmed in there, turning into Antarctica. Jurassic Park filmed in there. Doing the complete opposite, it was a tropical rainforest set on the inside of it. Ron Howard did 2 movies in there, including Apollo 13, where it was the Mission Control Room, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It was the Grinch's lair. So any type of set you can imagine can be built at the inside of these sound stages. They're like mini universes, right? It could be an indoor set, outdoor set, a real location, a fictional one, pretty much anything. Currently, though, inside of these sound stages are a bunch of homes. Not real homes, but like sets for homes. We do an HBO Max show that we produce over here called Hacks with Gene Smart. They're working on season 5. This is also where we do a couple of other Peacock shows, including a brand new one called The 5-Star Weekend with Jennifer Garner. And our new spinoff of The Office called The Paper with Donald Gleason and Oscar Nunez filmed here.
We sell products made out of paper,
I
toilet
want to see
tissue,
someone famous
and
come
local
out.
newspapers. That's a
My name is Ned Saxon. I am your new editor-in-chief.
We are going to make it better. I hope it's not too disruptive to have me shake everything up.
God, not again.
So if you're a fan of The Office, definitely check out The Paper. And that is entirely filmed inside these sound stages. Same sound stage, by the way, used by Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, our Best Picture winner. Now on our left, some of you already noticed Ted is standing there. Ted is standing for some pretty interesting buildings. These are beige bungalows which are now used as offices for some of the top writers, directors, and production companies. And they're people you recognize. For instance, you see Death Row Pictures there with the blue flowers. That is Snoop Dogg's production company, so he has an office out here. Illumination is last there on the left-hand side. That's the animation house. Brought us Despicable Me, Minions, Save Like the Pets, Sing, Super Mario Brothers movie. I think that's our franchise. Plus a sequel they just announced for the Super Mario Brothers movie, Super Mario Galaxy, the movie I'm very excited for. Producers have offices out here like Mark Platt. He's known for musicals. He did Wicked and Wicked for Good coming out next month. And television producers like Justin Spitzer. Sorry, that's very loud. I apologize. Justin Spitzer has a show currently working on their second season called St. Dennis Medical with David Allen Greer and Wendy McCullough.
Welcome to St. Dennis Medical Center.
St. Dennis Regional Medical.
I have access to some really good stuff, and I will hook you up.
No, man. That was a test.
Like the Avengers, you know?
We're not supposed to have favorite patients, but we do.
I almost don't want him to get better.
Hey, oh, kind of blotchy.
It's the other one.
Oh my God, that's what that was.
So you see the first season on Peacock. Second season, they filmed this on the sound stage next to the left-hand side. So the inside of their hospital is inside these sound stages. The outside of their hospital, like the courtyard, the ambulance bay, isn't even attached to it. It's at a completely different set built across the street inside these metropolitan sets. And this is going to be the first off of the backlot. The backlot is where we do
Ugly
the big
Tesla.
stuff, right? The large exterior scenes for our productions on a very large scale. And it doesn't get much larger in the world than these movie sets. Take a look out from the left-hand side. This is all a partially dressed set. They're in the process of decorating and changing this for one of the television shows out here. I believe it's St. Dennis Medical utilizing it. It could also be Stuart Fails to Save the Universe. Both shows utilize this all the time. And that is the whole point of here in the backlot. We have this wide variety of movie sets that are so much easier to film in than it would be to film in any location around the world, right? That is our founder's dream. He wanted Universal Studios to become a one-stop shop for movie making. No matter what kind of movie you're making, no matter where it takes place, when it takes place, that's a big one. You can find it here at Universal. You just transform the sets that we have to be what you need. So these metropolitan sets can be Los Angeles. They were for Transformers. And the Decepticons are blowing up the streets or blowing up the metropolitan sets. They were Chicago in The Sting, one of the Best Picture winners, but the late great Robert Redford utilized this as Chicago. Same thing with the Blues Brothers from John Landis. It even plays itself in American Ninja Warrior. They set up a giant obstacle course out here. But currently, 2 different shows are filming out here. You have St. Dennis Medical being one, and Stuart Fails to Save the Universe being the other one. In fact, as we round this corner, take a look down this first road to the right-hand side, right before these white columns. All the way as far as you can see, you're going to see a fully dressed set for Stuart Fails to Save the Universe in our courthouse square. All those planes, the bus stop, the lights and everything like that have been placed out there for that show. So hopefully you don't recognize it as Hill Valley County, because it's the same set. Well, more often than not, this is used in New York. It's so much easier to film here than New York City. This has to be found. It's a Tonight Show.
I got my start right here in New York. This is actually my old neighborhood. Once got mugged over there. An old woman. Tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey, buddy. How's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. It's cool, guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
And y'all, there have been thousands of movies, television shows, commercials, and music videos utilizing the same streets over and over and over again. So some of your favorite actors worked out here, some of your favorite directors have made movies here, but my personal favorite director, Peter Jackson, created Where We're Headed Next, King Kong 363D.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies. I saw that movie on TV when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up on the beach. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from, prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island, and it's great to have you along for the ride. Now, we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready. Don't put them on yet, but just put them in your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island.
We are in for an adventure, y'all. Please remain seated, arms and legs of the vehicle. Hold on tight to your belongings. No flash photography. Photography is fine to turn off the flash. Blinds every person around you. Welcome to Skull Island.
Glasses on, everybody.
Oh, get ready for the King Kong. Here I go. Oh no. There it is. Ôi trời ơi. I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm going down. Oh no. I'm going down. Oh. Wow. Wow. I got wet. Ah, spider. Spider.
That is King Kong 360.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
One of the largest and most intense 3D experiences on the planet. Is that cool or is that cool? That's pretty cool. Alright. We are now done using those 3D glasses. So you're not going to need to wear them, but I do want you to hold on to them. We recycle them once we're done with the tour. That epic battle was produced by director Peter Jackson and created by a company in New Zealand you'll found called Weta Digital. They worked with some of the biggest movies of all time. Won 7 Academy Awards for King Kong, Lord of the Rings trilogy, This is the Jungle Book, and Avatar, The Way of Water. Pretty much all the big box office successes in the last 25 years. Now, if you look at your screens, that's what it looks like in there with all the lights on. Now, the screens that is projected on are roughly 3 times the size of IMAX screens, 40 feet tall and 180 feet long. All of that technology and hard work from Weta combines to bring Skull Island and our big buddy King Kong to life in a way that had never been seen before.
With a project like the studio tour, the audience is in the middle of the environment. They're looking in all directions, there's creatures coming at them, they're seeing Kong from this side and T-Rexes from the other side.
Working on a movie, we always know where people are looking straight ahead, they're looking at the shot that they're working on.
Here you have to take into account that people are looking in all directions.
Also, one of the things about this ride, unlike the movies that we're used to working on, there's no cuts because it's one giant shot. This tram that's driving along through Skull Island is where the camera's from. This ring represents where the screen is 10 meters away.
We're really creating about 50 minutes of a feature film. That amount of visual information, that number of pixels, and presenting them to the audience, it's a hell of a ride.
Now, I think King Kong 363D is amazing, and we're used to that kind of computer technology these days, right? We see that kind of stuff in movies all the time. Could you imagine, though, the original audience of the 1933 King Kong movie seeing that? That would be like magic, right? Because even the 1933 movie was magic. Now, that movie from King Kong was done by RKO Studios. Studio is no longer around. But they did King Kong because of something we were doing here at Universal. The monster movies. Take a look at the mural here to the right-hand side. This entire thing, paying homage to the monsters of Universal, was done by one man, artist Tristan Eden. He's a Los Angeles native, now worked all over the globe, and did this all himself with nothing but spray paint. And we owe a lot to those monsters. Their success during the Great Depression allowed Universal to retain all of our property and keep on building, and we still are. We're constantly building new sound stages. We actually have a couple of new ones over here to the left-hand side, which are also very busy. That is where we do a hit vocal competition show on NBC called The Voice, with one of the coaches, Snoop Dogg.
Hey there, Studio Tour. I'm Snoop Dogg from The Voice, and we tape our show right here in stage 30 and 31 in the heart of the Universal backlot. These state-of-the-art sound stages allow us to bring every round of our show to life, from the blind auditions to the live finale, and everything in between. Make some noise! We know what I'm have to watch.
Rainbow Sonic, baby! Yo, now. You should see the underwear I'm wearing.
So you see season 20 of The Voice. It's on NBC Mondays and Tuesdays, following day on Peacock. And Reba McEntire, one of the coaches of The Voice as well, does another show over there called Happy's Place. So she's very busy as well. She's working on season 2 over there. And those aren't even the newest sound stages we got. We get 8 more, even bigger ones further back at the studio. Working on various things back there, including a new show called The Burbs with Keke Palmer and Jack Whitehall, which is a television adaptation of the Tom Hanks Carrie Fisher movie. But as you can see, we got some road construction that's been going on here in front of this area. So what we're going to be doing is we're making a little U-turn around Little Europe. Now, Little Europe is quite old, dates back to the silent film era, but that's where we did our monster movies, starting in 1931 with Dracula and Frankenstein. That's where we did some classic movies like Spartacus with Kirk Douglas, and also some television shows you might recognize like The Good Place with Ted Danson and Kristen Bell. Now, one area that you rarely ever see in movies and television shows is actually a set that's inside the soundstage. Now, please remain seated and hold on to your belongings. This is a very unique set that is built specifically to allow our trams to drive through. This has been here for about 35 years. There was a movie that needed to do a stunt where an actor jumped from a train platform and grabbed onto a subway train. They couldn't afford to use a real subway, so they actually built this for cheaper and used our tram as a train. They didn't want to use computer technology in the early 90s because it didn't look right, so they did it practically, physically in front of the camera, and it worked out beautifully. They were able to film it over the course of a few weeks, save time, save money, and we got to add it to our studio tour right afterwards. And it's been here for about 35 years. Now, we do rent this out. You saw this in an episode of Bones with Emily Deschanel and David Boreanaz. This is also... Oh! Alright, hold on. That could be a tremor. It could also be an earthquake. Just remain seated and hold on with it. That is an earthquake. Alright, well, they've only left a few seconds to Nice job. Now that's a backdoor. I know computers involved right in front of the camera. It's also a good machine, so it's a mechanical effect on top of it because we don't want to put you through a real train crash building. You can do that as a mechanical effect, so you know it's going to be safe. You can also set it back up and film it again. Sometimes we have to film a second time. We call that take 2, take 3, take 187. Well, with a mechanical effect, you can do all that as many times as you want. I want to do that once. Hey, y'all, we are roughly halfway done with our tour at this point. This is just a reminder, if you need my assistance, remember the red emergency cord hanging above your head. Give it a pull, we'll be back to help you. And after a fake earthquake, I think we all deserve a break. So let's head to the beaches of Amity Island. Now, Amity's technically closed right now because they found a shark yesterday. But I did hear they caught the shark and they want to open up the beach. But it's a little early. It's not supposed to open up until noon. I know the guy in charge, though, is my buddy George. So I'm going to see if I can't get him to open up the beach. He's the police officer in charge of Amity right now. That's his boat. I don't see George. That's a big shark. Okay, we're sailing the tram. We're not going to the water. Where's George? Chris, I don't see George. Oh, he's in the water. That's not good. George, there's a shark.
Oh no. Nope, nope.
It's not real.
You okay? He's fine. Chris is good. Okay, just stay seated for us. We're going to pull forward, park over here. We got to make a few phone calls now. We're just going to park next to the barrels of gasoline. That should be fine. Oh, the shark took the bait, and it took the whole dock. It was attached to it, and took the gasoline up there. Don't touch the gasoline. Oh, that's horrible. Okay, that's, oh, it's spreading.
It's a flame.
Okay, now we're gonna have to call the fire department. So just stay seated. We're gonna call everyone out here. They're gonna, never mind. We're gonna leave.
Flame. Wait, what?
They're gonna need a big train. Congratulations, everyone. You survived Bruce the shark. Well, Bruce. Sit down, car 4. Thank you. I'm gonna hang out the window. Don't tell my boss. Hi. How's it going? Hey, yell out the answer to this question if you know it. What kind of shark is Bruce? What is he?
Great white.
No, it's plastic. No, you're right. It's a plastic gray white. Now, our plastic gray white works a lot better than Steven Spielberg's. In fact, the movie had to be postponed because of the shark. It was supposed to come out Christmas Day in 1974, but they postponed it to the middle of summer. The first big blockbuster movie released in June, and it became the biggest movie ever made. So now, because of Jaws, we release movies not only in the holidays, but also in the summer. In fact, Jurassic Park came out the same week of June in '93 that Jaws did in 1975. And Steven Spielberg kind of made a bigger version of Jaws, if you think about it, for Jurassic Park, right? You had mechanical dinosaurs, you also had digital dinosaurs. You also had to create a tropical rainstorm for Jurassic Park. And we'll show you how he created that here in Old Mexico. We'll have a thunderstorm pop up. Now, typically, you wouldn't have thunder on sets. You would want to add that after the fact. But we're going to have thunder here so you can record it on your phones and everything's all in one. So we have thunder, we have lightning, which is a big strobe light. Well, we're not going to block out the sun because it helps you see the rain, which I'm going to turn on the rain effects right now. Sorry, I forgot to turn on my system. Just like that, I got a rainy day. We get this rain by using a super high-tech, sophisticated system that we call sprinklers. That's all it is. As long as the sprinklers are above the cameras, these work pretty good. You might notice there's a lot of gaps between the sprinklers, but let's just show you, you don't need to have water everywhere. When you're making the movie, you only have one camera, and you can place it exactly perfectly so there's no gaps. But since we have a whole bunch of cameras, I'll turn on all the sprinklers, get rid of those gaps. Or not. Let's try that in. It says it's on. Sorry, y'all. 1 second. Looks like it's difficulty with that rain. Wait, what is that? Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's all the water. Hold your breath. Oh! Don't worry, y'all. About a flood, about 10,000 gallons of water. We release giant tanks just like this scene in Big Fat Liar. It calls you your body, antibodies, and crack your hands. You can also see the flood in a couple of music videos. Song Spot the Most by Enrique Iglesias and Judas by Lady Gaga both have music videos, so use our flood. This part of old Mexico was Mexico, and Nacho Libre, starring Jack Black. It's also the pirate city of Tortuga, Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean personal by Pearl. So a lot of our favorite movies will use the same set. But more movies have been filmed on this set than any other set you're going to see today combined. I'm talking thousands of movies have been made here. That's mainly because in the silent film era, you can make a movie really close to another movie as long as you don't see the actors. And 6 points. These old Western sets were designed to film 6 movies at a time out here. And they often did. They would make hundreds of movies out here every single year. But we still use these. You just typically only make 1 movie out here at a time. Quentin Tarantino actually used this for his most recent movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, with Leonardo DiCaprio. The movie takes place in Hollywood, 1969. And Leonardo DiCaprio is playing an actor named Rick Dalton. There's about 45 minutes of the movie where he is starring in a Western in a movie studio, and that was all done here in 6 points. It looks super cool. I encourage you to check it out. Just remember that it's a Tarantino movie. It is very rated R. But some of the biggest Western stars also made movies out here. John Wayne, Kirk Douglas, Jimmy Stewart, Audie Murphy, they all made Westerns here. Even Steven Spielberg made a movie here called The Color Purple. There's a dress shop that opens up at the very end of the movie that was one of the sets here. So Steven Spielberg's fingerprints are literally and figuratively all over Universal. You know, he's made some of the biggest movies here, but even prior to making movies, he was directing commercials, nighttime television, and made-for-TV movies at Universal. That was the work that kind of inspired the executives at Universal to hire him for Jaws. And then once Jaws came out, the entire industry changed, and Steven Spielberg became one of the most important directors of all time. He did a lot of hits for Universal over the years. Jaws, E.T., Jurassic Park, a Best Picture winner of Schindler's List. So it makes sense that the longest road to the studio is this one, Steven Spielberg Drive. Right? It begins here, goes all the way past the theme park. It's also where Jaws' location is, which he also helped us get. Right after he's done working on his movie, he worked with the studio tour to make sure we could drive through Amity less than a year after the movie came out.
The Jaws ride was almost the inevitable result of the size of the box office when Jaws first opened in June of 1975. And that was really the first time I ever got involved in the creation of a ride. It was a great honor to be invited into a creative circle of tremendous designers at Universal that were trying to figure out how to replicate what the movie had done to audiences in a real way by building a physical shark that would come out of the water and terrify tourists as they were sitting in the trap. And the most amazing thing about the Jaws ride is it is exactly as it was from the time it was first placed on the Universal lot. There have been tweaks, of course, over the years, but it is essentially what the designers and myself all envisioned and created. I'm done bashing the shark. Thank you, Jaws, for everything you've done for me. But I will say, consistently, the shark did work much better on the tour than it did in the Atlantic Ocean in 1970.
That being said, Jaws filmed in the real ocean in real neighbor to Martha's Vineyard. Most movies do that because if you think about it, they go to a location and then you probably never see it again. Television uses the same locations every episode for every season. So a great example is if we're making a movie about your life, we could probably use your real house if you let us. A television show about your life, there's no way. Because we hope to have your house for years using that television show. We would probably film it here in Colonial Street and just pretend it's your neighborhood. Colonial Street's been here for decades. This is The Burbs and The Burbs. So Tom Hanks and Carrie Fisher, as well as the new television show we're doing. It's where Casper lived in Casper, Christina Ricci and Bill Pullman. It was Nellyville with Nellie and Kelly Rowland in the video. But a lot of people recognize this as Wisteria Lane on ABC's Desperate Housewives. They had a very unique situation. It was made by a different company, but they took complete control of the road while they were filming here, and no one else was allowed to film. But they kept up with the maintenance. They built a few houses, tore a few down, they repainted everything. They even rebuilt Mrs. McCluskey's house in the middle of season 4 for their show. These houses aren't built to last a long time. They're just built for a show and then hopefully they last. The issue was the house fell apart in the middle of the season. So Desperate Housewives had to write an excuse of what happened to that house in the show. So a big storm comes to town, and while all the houses are damaged, Mrs. McCluskey's house was completely blown away. That happens all the time. Things will happen in real life that we kind of have to explain within the context of the show. The same exact thing happened in the show Superstore with America Ferrera. Big tornado obliterates half their store because we had to tear down half their set to build Super Nintendo World. So they found an excuse for that one. The final episode of Superstore had a picnic in this side yard here to the right, so they've been out here. Now, it recently was painted, but this white house on the left-hand side with the open garage used to be blue when it was Ted and Johnny's house in Ted. Take a look. On your screens, it's blue, and on the left, it's white.
Let the festivities begin.
How many we got?
Well, let's see. We got 20 cartons.
Fantastic.
Do you think we're getting too old for this?
Oh, come on, Johnny, we're doing a public service here. If a kid leaves the house in a less than stellar Halloween costume, he's got to get the bad news before he makes a fool of himself all over town. We're Samaritans.
Y'all, I know it's a teddy bear. That show is not for children. You would find out literally this first spoken word by a character is the F-bomb. All right, so you would find that out immediately. If you like Seth MacFarlane, though, you would love Ted. I'm very excited for that second season. Now, notice, as soon as we leave Colonial Street, it's starting to look like we just haven't built a single thing out here. And the truth is, you're right. We have not built a single thing out here. But it still uses a filming location. We're the only studio in town that has such land that looks like it's the middle of nowhere. So that's what it's used for. We call this Wilderness Road. There's a really cool Netflix original movie called Bird Box that filmed out here with Sandra Bullock. That's that monster movie where you can't look at it. She's all blindfolded. She gets the two kids out of town. They travel days and days up the river to the wilderness. Yeah, they're 3 feet away from the road the whole time. There's also a really cool episode of the show 911 on Fox with Angela Bassett that featured a mudslide in the Hollywood Hills. They did it out here. It actually catches a limo, so they covered a limo with mud and threw it down the hill. Anytime you have a car or any vehicle really in a movie or television show, it's called a picture car. I would say the more famous and recognizable picture car is the Time Machine and Back to the Future, which is in the Peterson Automotive Museum, if you want to check it out. If you want to see more picture cars, just look up here. We got a whole bunch. Now make sure you grab your photos of these picture cars as we pass on by. And as you do, we got about 10-15 minutes left of our tour. So once again, a reminder, if you need my assistance, remember the red emergency cord hanging above your head. Give it a call and be back to help you. Now, I love Jurassic Park and the Flintstones, but I gotta talk about Fast and Furious, right? It's a massive franchise, very successful franchise, hundreds of picture cars throughout the entire thing. If you haven't seen any Fast and Furious movie, there's 11 of them. All right, you have 10 of the main story, 1 spin-off with Hobbs and Shaw, so I got a bit of catching up to do. I also want to make sure that everyone stays seated in this area because there was a lady reported missing over here named Marion Crane. She was last seen checking into cabin number 1 of the Bates Motel. Yeah, welcome to the iconic Bates Motel and Psycho House up there from Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Now, all the construction behind the motel, in front of it, and why our Hollywood sign looks so gruesome, is actually for Halloween Horror Nights. It's part of Terror Tram, part of the event where folks are driven out here by tram and then get out and walk around. It's like an outdoor haunted house. But at the top of the hill is the iconic Psycho House. Been here for 65 years. Oh, no, Norman's home. He's not supposed to be here under your Halloween Horror Nights. Norman, what are you doing? You're supposed to be on vacation. Hey, while you're here, though, you remember the lady checked in, Marion Crane? You just, never mind. Just took out a knife. Just keep going, Chris.
Oh, my God.
No. Oh, I lost that. I think everyone caught those. Oh, no. Nope, we're good. Oh, that was close. You know what? Let's just hang out in his backyard.
You're trying to kill us.
Welcome to the massive 747 crash site from Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds. It's a Paramount picture that stars Tom Cruise motivating and Justin Chatwin. And also features that real 747, completely destroyed just for this set. Here to tell us a little bit more about the concept behind it is Steven Spielberg and the movie's production designer, Rick Carter.
The airplane crash site set is a perfect example of a set that is all designed around a visual experience.
You just sit down and talk about War of the Worlds. That's not what it's 747 they're right in a big way. Because it's just something you don't see.
Bobby, get in. Get in. And outside of what we just watched on the screens, you only see the set in the movie for maybe 3 more minutes. That's it. So a lot of work in a small fraction of the movie, but Steven Spielberg knows that's enough. We don't need to see something for very long to have an image put in our brain that just lasts a long time. Our own imagination is telling a lot of the story, and it's genius filming. And there's a similar style of storytelling coming from Jordan Peele, who's here to tell us about his set from his movie Nope.
Movie magic only happens when a team of collaborators, often in the hundreds, work together to take an impossible notion and bring it to life. This is Jupiter's Playroom, a nostalgic, small-time Southern California amusement park owned by former child star Ricky Juke Park. Over there, look into the Winking Land and have your picture taken just like the kids in that old 90s movie Kid Show. That's what this whole place is loosely based on. Remember that one? No? What? A little further down, you can see the brand new Star Lasso experience. Built to showcase an unbelievable new live show. so live. Anyway, behind this Hollywood fantasy, the Gold Rush frontier town hides a sinister secret. It is smack dab in the center of a UFO hotspot.
What is going on?
Welcome to the world
of no. We're like losing power. All right, just remain secret.
What's going on? Goodness.
Yeah, nope. If you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it. Watch all three of Jordan Peele's directed movies. He's done Get Out, Us, and Go so far at Universal. Each one of them is a unique standalone horror thriller, all wrapped around their own theme. I'm excited for him to come back because every movie that he's directed is using more and more of the studio. I'm hoping his fourth movie uses everything, including this giant blue wall up here on the right-hand side. This is called Falls Lake. That color, blue and bright green, are two colors that don't appear in anyone's skin tone, so we use it for visual effects as a backdrop. It also has a basin in front of it that is filled with millions of gallons of water, so a lot of water scenes usually filmed out here. And some pretty big movies. Top Gun Maverick with Tom Cruise, Inception and Dunkirk from Christopher Nolan, and hopefully Jordan Peele one day. And hopefully you, right? Because a lot of people that make movies here started on a studio tour. Jordan Peele's one of them, so is Steven Spielberg. His journey began with us just as a teenager when he was on a tour of the studio.
My entire career began with my relationship with Universal Studios just as a high school kid on a tour bus. Remember, in those days, there weren't trams, there were buses called the Gray Line Tour Bus. And I was so excited and thrilled to be on the lot. It was my first time ever on a movie studio lot. And during a bathroom break, I hid in the bathroom, and when everybody left to get back on the bus, I waited another 15 minutes until I'm sure the bus left, and then I had the entire lot to myself that day. And in those days, movie lots were so crowded because all movies were made on film lots. Today they're made all over the world, on locations, but most of it was focused in those days, in the 60s, on the film lots. So nobody noticed me when I was going around from soundstage to soundstage, and I really felt, in my own young way, I owned the lot. And had the most amazing day of my life.
And I see it was a pretty amazing career that followed that guy. So I hope the same thing happens for you. And no, don't seek out the tour, that was the 60s. But I hope that it inspires you to come back and make a movie or television show. But regardless of what brings you back, making a movie, watching a movie, or writing a movie, we hope you have fun today and hope to see you again very, very soon. But y'all, that is going to conclude our movie studio tour for the day, and we're going to get y'all back to the theme park at this point. Thank you so much for coming out to the tour. And a special thanks to our annual pass holders on board. It's always nice seeing familiar faces on the train. Now, if you want to become an annual pass holder, it's very simple. You take your tickets up to the Universal box office, which is the big tower in the center of the park. They'll just show you how to extend today's ticket into an annual pass and then come back throughout the year. I also encourage you all to download the Universal Studios Hollywood app today because it's going to help out a lot in the park. It'll confirm that we're open until 6 p.m. with most of the ride engines closing at 5:30 once again to help prepare for Hollywood Horror Nights. It'll give you show times for Waterworld, wait times for rides and attractions, plus a whole lot more. If you have any questions, though, don't hesitate to come over and find me. I'll be available once we exit the tram. Once again, my name is Tim. I look like this. That'll be me. I love to chat with you. And if you're interested in watching any Universal movie, go to that website on your screen, upag.com. Stands for Universal Pictures Home Entertainment. Pretty much an online directory of all Universal movies. Now, once we come to a full, complete stop, one of our studio tour ambassadors will be over to open up the door for us. Until then, just remain seated. Once that door is open, they'll watch you step off the tram. Make sure you have all of your stuff that belongs to you with you. Also, your 3D glasses, just toss them on their way out in those blue and silver bins to the left. On behalf of driver Chris, myself, your tour guide Tim, and everyone here at the studio tour, we hope you have a tram-tastic rest of your day. That's a wrap.